Irreverent. Entertaining. Cool. You're listening to the only radio that matters. BBS Talk Radio. In a world permeated by barbecue websites under the control of tyrannical administrators, there was one man, a one-man army, who allowed his members to speak out, give their input, and make the website what it is today. The man, Greg Rempe. The website, thebarbecuecentral.com. The Barbecue Centralites demanded more. They wanted to hear him interviewing the top names in the barbecue industry, and they wanted to call in their questions live on the air. Once again, he came through and made the rest of the barbecue websites on the net his. It's the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio with your host, Greg Rempe.
Live from Cleveland, Ohio, it's the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio.
Good evening. Welcome to the Barbecue Central Show. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Welcome in. Happy to have you aboard tonight. And a big show. It is promised to be 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so go ahead and make your time zone adjustments as necessary. If you know what I want to talk about tonight, and I have been promoting tonight's show all around bbstalkradio.com, which is the place that hosts this show tonight, also around the Barbecue Central Forum, as well as a few other forums. If you know what the subject matter is tonight, which is the Barbecue Throwdown, with my guest to be here in just a few minutes, Leanne Whippen. If you have something you want to get in on as far as that's concerned, or perhaps you have a question as far as the Barbecue Central Forum is concerned, or about barbecue or grilling in a live fire sense in general, let me give you your contact information so we can get running right from the start. Call-in number 216-220-0966, or you can email me your questions for either the guest tonight, Leanne Whippen, or for me, and that is at bbqcentralradio at gmail.com. That's bbqcentralradio at gmail.com. So once again, this is how the show is going to lay out tonight. In just a few minutes, Leanne Whippen, technically on the clock right now, we'll be talking to her. I have a few things to ask her about the Kansas City Barbecue Society. The last couple weeks we've been talking about fuel prices, and they continue to be on the rise. So I wanted to get her opinion about how they potentially would affect her competition schedule this year and what she thinks might be the overall consensus as far as how other competitors will look at their schedules and potentially pair out their particular competitions that in the past perhaps they had attended but now might look to pair off the schedule because fuel prices continue to rise and now are a source of realistic concern for all involved. Secondly, last week, when Air Boss Bill Rempe was in studio, we talked about competition barbecue and how, in essence, there is a very large expense that is on the onus of the participant, and that the fact of getting any type of recoup on their expense is minimal, especially if you haven't really competed in barbecue competitions prior. So at the end of our segment there, we had talked about how some of the other Rib Fests and so on, these people, especially in the Rib Fest, and there's actually the Cleveland Rib Fest is getting ready to take place here, I believe, next week. They're promoting it now on the televisions. Actually won tickets to the Seether concert next weekend. But nevertheless, these are events where the vendors or the participants in the competition actually get to sell their product. So it was brought up at the end of the conversation, and I had received a few emails on this during the course of the week. how come competition barbecuers aren't allowed to sell their leftovers after they've made their turn-ins? They have all this meat left over because people don't just cook one brisket, one butt, one chicken, and one rib and turn it in. There's, at least 2 or 3 of each, and there's a significant amount of leftovers. So why not vend their leftovers to kind of recoup cost that they had invested in the competition in the first place to continue to incentivize these people to continue to compete and push out and make the sport more popular than it is. So that's some of the questions we'll be asking her, hopefully when she gets in here in the next couple minutes. And then, of course, we'll be talking about her throwdown appearance, which took place Sunday, this past Sunday on Mother's Day. She competed in the throwdown with, well, I don't even know if he's a popular barbecue chef per se. I mean, he's a well-known chef. Bobby Flay gets a lot of, people either seem to really like him on the barbecue forums, or they really take issue with pretty much his whole being. Here's some things you can't discount from Bobby. He's very successful. He owns 2 of probably the more successful restaurants in New York City. He has parlayed the Food Network into a primetime gig where he has a few different signature shows that he does: Boy Meets Grill, Barbecue with Bobby Flay, now with the Throwdown series. Plus, he's on the Iron Chef side of things as well. So I think that's like 4 different things that he's involved in with that network. Plus, he is obviously on the business side. He owns a couple restaurants that he's also chef of. And then, he's involved in a number of other ancillary things to include thoroughbred racing ownership. And I have that from a very good source, by the way. So people seem to like him or they don't. And it's going to be a great conversation to have with Leanne, who has kind of dealt with him. Well, I don't know if she dealt with him in the past per se on a personal sense like she did when she competed with him on this throwdown. But she had taken place, or she had been on the Food Network to some degree when they followed her at the American Royal a couple years back on the Barbecue with Bobby Flay program, where he more or less just did voiceover work for her, or for the show, and I don't think he was actually out there watching her do the contest over the course of the 24 to 36 hour period. So it'll be interesting to get her thoughts on what she thought about Bobby Flay, if he's getting an unfair rap, and then, of course, talking about the whole competition in itself and a few of these KCBS events. So here's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and get out so I can make time for the competition, or not the competition, but for the interview with Leanne Whippen. And when we come back, we'll have her on the line. We'll talk about some KCBS things, and more importantly, we'll talk about the throwdown that took place with her and Bobby Flay. If you have any questions, you can call in at 216-220-0966, or you can email at bbqcentralradio@gmail.com. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio.
Hey, smell my pits. Yeah, come on, smell my pits. You know why they smell so good? Because I use D-Dog's barbecue rubs in my barbecue pits. D-Dog's award-winning championship rubs are available online at ddogsbbq.com. Try the original, the apple, or the maple. But there's more. D-Dog's now has sauces. D-Dog's Barbecue is now proud to offer cranberry chipotle sauce, D-Dog's chicken wing sauce, and steak sauce too. And you can get them online at ddogsbbq.com. Keep checking back because D-Dogs is always bringing in new products with new sauces and new rubs coming soon. D-Dogs Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, championship award-winning. Shop online at ddogsbbq.com. That's ddogsbbq.com.
The Big Green Egg is the most unique barbecue and grilling product on the market, with its unmatched capabilities and flexibility that surpass all other conventional cookers combined. It's a smoker, a grill, and an oven. You can literally cook any food on it year-round, from appetizers to entrees to desserts. The Big Green Egg lights fast, and it's ready to cook on within 10 minutes, and no need for that yucky lighter fluid. The ceramic walls retain heat with an accurate temperature control, so there are no hot spots. And since the top is down while you're cooking, there are no grease flare-ups. Its handsome, unique, and decorative design produces the juiciest and most succulent food you'll ever taste. And don't forget about the world-class customer service and the lifetime warranty that goes along with every unit. You can find out more about the Big Green Egg by visiting their website at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com. The Big Green Egg, the most versatile and unique barbecue and grilling product on the market.
Barbecue has never been easier with the Barbecue Guru. The Barbecue Guru is a temperature control and monitor for all pits, charcoal, wood, electric, your pit. It easily attaches to any smoker or pit and gives you simple, trouble-free control of your temperatures, so you can make championship quality barbecue every time and all the time. And it's location-free. Take it anywhere. This amazing breakthrough in barbecue technology is a microprocessor-controlled draft system that uses temperature monitors and a small fan to keep your temperatures constant. The stainless steel Guru Pit Minder gives you a choice of controls from 90 to 370 degrees. So cold smoking, pepper drying, making cheese or jerky, or fabulous briskets and ribs is nothing short of effortless. The Procom 4 lets you monitor your pit from up to 600 feet away. And there's more. Check out the full line of products and accessories for the future of barbecue with new items on the way. Visit thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
This is Rennie Knopf with ChampionshipBBQ.TV, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Now, back to the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio.
All right, welcome back to the Barbecue Central Show. Having a little technical difficulty. I don't know why I'm floating through the board here. We're actually calling into Leanne Whippen right now.
Hello.
Leanne, this is Greg. You're live on the air, Barbecue Central Radio.
Hi, Greg. How are you tonight?
I seem to be having a little technical difficulty, but I think I started a program. Well, you know what? It's a computer thing, and we'll just leave it at that.
Okay. That works for me.
I apologize.
No problem.
All right, so I wanted to get out early on some commercials so we could come back and spend at least a segment or two with you in regards to some KCBS stuff, and then, of course, on the throwdown that took place with the Bobby Flay deal just this past Mother's Day on Sunday. So, yes. First of all, we've been talking the last couple weeks on the Barbecue Central show here on BBS Talk Radio about the cost of fuel and how it continues to rise and how that is going to be affecting participation and attendance at barbecue events this year. What's your take on the cost of fuel rising and how it will play into the attendance of events, and will that at all inhibit the number of events that you plan on attending this year?
It's kind of ironic that you bring that up because I was talking with Texas Rib Ranger just yesterday, and he was talking about attendance at two different events. And one of the events had a $50,000 purse, the other one $10,000. And the $10,000 purse ended up having a higher attendance than the other. And I said, do you think it's because of the fuel and the location? He agreed with me that that was the reason for it. I definitely think it has an impact on it. Obviously, there are certain, areas of the U.S. that are more prominent with barbecue teams, and I think you'll find that when you have state championships in those areas, you're going to have a higher attendance, and it's going to start to diminish maybe as you go into, say, Massachusetts or whatever. I know that I'm definitely backing off, not necessarily because of fuel per se, but because of, the restaurant business. But it also, fuel is definitely a huge factor to look at. And if you're bringing a crew with you and you're vending, you got to weigh out all of the costs involved, and fuel's a big one. So I think it's definitely going to impact.
Another question that I was talking to my in-studio guest last week about, he's not necessarily as knowledgeable on how barbecue competitions as a whole work. There's a very common ground as far as people going to these rib contests that take place. Those aren't necessarily barbecue competitions because they're getting, I mean, they have this competition and, however they're scored. I'm not necessarily familiar with it. And there's a really big one that actually takes place here in Cleveland starting next week that has been going on for years. But those people at the rib competitions actually get to vend their wares and make money, the buck a bone, $1.50 bone, or whatever it is these days.
Right.
You're involved with the KCBS, and I'm wondering, and I had gotten a number of emails last week, typically at these sanctioned events, the participants are not allowed to vend their leftovers that are, remainders from turn-ins. Do you think that it would be beneficial for these people to actually get to vend stuff to kind of recoup the costs that they're putting in, entry fees and meat fees and all this stuff? And if you're not getting a segment call or you're not winning a reserve or a grand championship, you're not taking home any money. This might be a good way to kind of keep everybody incentivized and keep competing in the future.
Well, the only thing is with that is that I don't think that people, when they're competing, cook mass quantities of food. So I don't think they're going to recoup their losses on what's left from competition. I know myself, I'm not going to cook, 50 racks of ribs for a competition. I might cook, say 6 or 8. But, once I'm, tasting the meat and, taking a bone off of each rack to decide what's going in, I'm already taking away from the product if they're going to buy a half rack or whatever. And it really doesn't seem like I'd be, regaining any of my losses with what's left from competition food. I don't think it's that significant.
Do you have, it seems that kind of a recurring subject or an iron in the fire is the fact that there seems to be a number of teams that kind of come into competition and then quickly cycle back out. And the fact is that there seems to be a large cost up front, and if you're not winning, you're not getting any money, and those people will tend to kind of fall off. Is it just a thing where you got to get into it and you got to make that investment and you got to know your craft and start winning to really be a part of the infrastructure, or is there something else that could be done to help subsidize or keep people competing on a regular basis?
Well, you're looking at more and more teams getting involved with sponsorship. And that's an avenue to look at. But then again, you have to be established in order to even get, to that level. So I am seeing more sponsors out there, and that's definitely going to offset your costs, if not pay for all of it. So, but that's going to help, the seasoned, veterans that are winning, because obviously they want to be associated with, the winning product. But for any new, competitive team coming out there, I think in order for you to continue, you have to have won something, or at least have that, winning obviously is a competitiveness that, and everybody wants to win something. And if they aren't winning, I don't even think they're looking at the money aspect of it. I think they're just looking at, we just aren't going to win, and it's, it doesn't motivate you to continue. If you win or hit on something, I know that's the way I was years ago when I started this. That's what kept me going. And every time I won something, it just made you want to, continue. And, of course, fuel wasn't, a consideration at that time. But, you always look at the cost of things. I mean, you look at the cost to take it off of work or, hotel rooms or what have you. But if you don't win something, you aren't going to continue and really make it want to work.
All right, so we're going to change gears now to the main reason why I asked you here tonight, which was the throwdown that took place this past Sunday. It probably took place for you probably a couple months before, but everybody gets to see it on the air on Food Network last Sunday for Mother's Day. How did you get picked to be on Throwdown? I mean, how does that whole process work?
I just got a call out of the blue, and it was from the New York production company, and basically it was Food Network, and they have people that actually do the research. And what they do, they ask me a whole bunch of questions, and then they seem to be very interested in what I had to say. So after about a half-hour conversation, they took my number, and they said, well, we might get back to you, we might not. And they called me that night at home, and they said, what we'd like you to do is send in a DVD, overnight it, and we want you to do a segment on pulled pork, basically a pulled pork for dummies, kind of video that was between 8 and 10 minutes long. And I said, sure, no problem. So I went ahead and did that, overnighted it to them, and they said, well, we're just basically going to put this into our database because when the producers decide they want to do a certain show, whether it's, the best barbecue in Virginia, they can go into the database, look at what's on file without having to take the time to do the research and basically pick and choose what they like. And then it shortens their time, for the production. So when I sent that video in, I really, I followed up with a phone call to make sure that they got it. And they did, and they said they were very pleased, but they really just didn't know where it was going to go from there. And it wasn't, I don't know, probably 2 weeks later I heard, and they said, what are you doing, this day and this day? We're sending, 2 film crews down from New York. We're filming a show called The Grilling Gals. And I said, great, so basically was on the phone with them night and day, talking about locations and content and everything else. But to me, the whole show had nothing to do with Bobby Flay or the Throwdown. It had to do with the show called The Grilling Gals. So I had no idea what it was going to be until that day.
Yeah, I was going to say, you had actually been on the Food Network, was it like maybe a year or two ago when they had kind of followed you at the American Royal Cook-Off when you and your sister were there.
And they had about 3 or 4 teams that they followed around, and Bobby Flay had actually narrated that show. But this was really, they told me it was going to be a focus on grilling gals. They had told me that they also found another girl in Texas that they were going to, it's kind of girls and barbecue kind of was the whole focus of the show. And I said, well, who's the girl in Texas? And they said, well, we aren't quite sure if we're going to use it yet. They were very vague on the whole thing. And they just said, we just know that we want you to do, the pulled pork segment. And I said, that's fine with me. I was excited. I was like, this is great, and, especially with the opening of the new restaurant, it was kind of all falling together. So they came down and, even they had me, saying things about the Grilling Gals and everything, as if it was going to happen. They were down here for 2, days, filming about 12 hours a day.
Right.
And somebody had said, it's ironic that Bobby Flay was here doing a show at our Scope. And it was a show just, him doing some cooking. And they said, he's in town. Maybe they're going to do a throwdown. I said, no. This is definitely Grilling Gals. I said, they've contacted people that, they want in the show. And I just knew for sure it wasn't. And then I started thinking more and more, after the first day of shooting, maybe it is, But they had set me up on Friday doing a catering event out in the back of my restaurant. And it was very low key. There were people running around, just trying to get things set up. But it wasn't like panic, like, oh, Bobby Flay's coming to town. And I had even said to my mom, I said, no, he's definitely not coming. I said, it's just, too low key. So that even made it more of a surprise when he showed up. I really had no idea.
So I was going to say, they go through this fairly elaborate ruse process about the Grilling Gals, and you were cutting promos that they were showing on the finished product. And then
that's right.
Bobby Flay rolls up on you, pulling a smoker in his truck with his 2 armed assassins. Ready to throw down.
Those 2 girls are so funny. They are bound and determined to win, as well as Bobby. It truly is. It's a blind competition, just like KCBS. So I really did not know. As a matter of fact, I thought that I had lost it, and not just because of, I thought my product wasn't as good. It was just one of the judges, when they tasted the product, they just didn't eat that much of it. I'm like, God, they don't like it. And so I was very worried. As a matter of fact, I started saying stuff, and I thought maybe they were going to put it on the TV, and I was saying, they didn't eat very much, that's not fair, And so I was very pleased with the result. It really came over as a huge surprise.
So when you see him, roll up on you, you knew at that point it was going to be a throwdown.
I really was overcome, but I figured it probably had to be.
We could tell.
Why else would he be there, I guess?
Right, exactly. So you said, I think, if I remember correctly, you said, hi, stranger, when you saw him. Had you guys had...
I hadn't seen him in quite a few years.
So you guys have had prior meetings?
No, I met him actually at the International Association of Culinary Professionals annual convention, which was held in Baltimore, Maryland. And I was up there cooking with Little Red Pig and another team, and we were cooking for the event whole hogs and chicken and everything. And Bobby Flay was up there with about 5 other celebrity chefs up there for the convention, competing in a pork tenderloin cook-off between them. But we were cooking barbecue for the event. So, I had taken the tenderloin out of a hog and brought it to Bobby. And, that was the first time that I actually met him face to face. But we all, got to taste each other's food and stuff, so it was really kind of fun. So that's why I said, hey, stranger, because I hadn't seen him in years.
Right.
But yet the event was so memorable, I remembered it, and I wondered if he remembered, and he did, and that was kind of neat.
Now, as to any production, especially for people that don't have a real knowledge of how TV or even radio works, there's the raw side of things, and then there's the finished side of things. So how long did you have to invest time-wise for us to see that 30-minute package on the finished side on the Food Network?
It was definitely 2 12-hour days of filming, and they actually came in. The event when Bobby Flay showed up was on a Friday, but we had been filming all the day before. We were at all different locations. They had, I guess it was a total of 3 different film crews, a local one and 2 from New York. And then they also sent, when a crew wasn't with me, they would send them out to do like little short takes of, whether it be Chesapeake or, different things to add into the show. So I would say it was at least 24 hours of probably actual footage. And for them to cut it to a half hour, I was very interested to see how the final thing was going to be. And they did a wonderful job. But, there was a lot of stuff that I really wish had gotten in there that didn't. But, you can't have it all, I guess.
So he issues you the challenge, you accept it. And I'm kind of under the impression, we're going to get to see a whole hog, or not a whole hog, but we're going to get to see kind of like a whole night's cook unfold over the course of, maybe 10 or 15 minutes as they're following you do those. And we also get to see, my hope was that we would also get to see if Bobby actually knows how to fire up. I think he was towing a close in his truck, so we would get to see him actually if he knows how to fire up a cooker, if he knows how to fire manage and all that stuff.
Curious. That kind of was curious to me as well, because, and when I thought about even the possibility of a throwdown, I'm like, how is he going to come in here, Friday afternoon and cook a shoulder? I just didn't get it. And then I thought, well, I'm cooking all night long. I know he's not going to be cooking all night long, or maybe he is. So when I saw the show and I saw how he had braised his or whatever he was doing with it, and it seemed like he almost had done a pre-cook and then finished it off in the smoker, because he certainly was not on site much more than a few hours. So, a lot of it had to be done before, because there was no way he could have done it. And I know I had cooked, when they did the segments on the raw shoulder, it was the day before, and, I had cooked them all night long. They went in, by 9 o'clock at night, and, I had the food probably coming out at 11 or 12. So, they had like 14, 15 hours on them.
I guess, a lot of the internet buzz here over the last couple of days is the fact that we are finally going to get to see, Bobby gets kind of, I don't know if he gets a raw deal or if he gets heavily criticized on the fact that he lends his name to a lot of barbecue shows, especially on the Food Network, but nobody's actually ever seen him barbecue in the true sense. So seeing him potentially build a fire, do fire management, and then, of course, the question was, well, did he really cook the butts? Because he shows up on site, he opens up the closed doors, and all of a sudden he pulls out barbecue butts that have been cooked already. And everybody's like, well, did he cook those, or did he smoke them, or did he braise them?
I think that one section where he's braising it in that pan, I think he must have pre-cooked them, somewhat, and then finished them off with heavy. He had to hit it with heavy smoke, because I definitely tasted smoke in it. But I don't see how he could do it any other way, because it definitely had time on him. I mean, it was definitely tender, and he cooked it slow. So that's the only way I can figure that he did it, unless he smoked it up there. And I don't know. I just think they had to finish it off on that smoker down here. Maybe he, cooled everything down and then did it that way. Because that's the way I would do it. I mean, I've had to do things like that before. We're
talking with Leanne Whippen, who just was the most recent contestant on the Throwdown with Barbecue with Bobby, or the Throwdown show with Bobby Flay on the pulled pork barbecue. Leanne, can you hang through the break here, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more? You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio. Stand by. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio. The Big Green Egg is the most unique barbecue and grilling product on the market, with its unmatched capabilities and flexibility that surpass all other conventional cookers combined. It's a smoker, a grill, and an oven. You can literally cook any food on it year-round, from appetizers to entrees to desserts. The Big Green Egg lights fast, and it's ready to cook on within 10 minutes, and no need for that yucky lighter fluid. The ceramic walls retain heat with an accurate temperature control, so there are no hot spots. And since the top is down while you're cooking, there are no grease flare-ups. Its handsome, unique, and decorative design produces the juiciest and most succulent food you'll ever taste. And don't forget about the world-class customer service and the lifetime warranty that goes along with every unit. You can find out more about the Big Green Egg by visiting their website at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com. The Big Green Egg, the most versatile and unique barbecue and grilling product on the market.
Hey, smell my pits. Yeah, come on, smell my pits. You know why they smell so good? Because I use D-Dog's barbecue rubs in my barbecue pits. D-Dog's award-winning championship rubs are available online at ddogsbbq.com. Try the original, the apple, or the maple. But there's more. D-Dog's now has sauces. D-Dog's Barbecue is now proud to offer cranberry chipotle sauce, D-Dog's chicken wing sauce, and steak sauce too. And you can get them online at ddogsbbq.com. Keep checking back because D-Dogs is always bringing in new products with new sauces and new rubs coming soon. D-Dogs Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, championship award-winning. Shop online at ddogsbbq.com. That's ddogsbbq.com. The future of barbecue is already here at thebarbecueguru.com. From the amazing guru that monitors and controls the temperatures of any charcoal, wood, or electric pit to the Caldera Tallboy knockdown smoker. Yes, it breaks down and stores flat, yet it's still a robust, sturdy, portable cooker and smokehouse. It also serves as an efficient temperature-controlled convection oven using wood or charcoal. The Tallboy is designed to fit all catering pans and can be used as a warming oven. You can cook in any style you choose. Make ribs, chicken, jerky, vegetables, smoked cheese, whatever you want. Take it to KCBS competitions and unload it from the trunk of your car. TheBarbecueGuru.com is where you'll find the Caldera 3-Bay Caterer. It's stainless steel and uses charcoal or sterno for chafing purposes. And it doubles as a 3-bay sink or wash station with hot water and knocks down in seconds with no tools required for transportation and storage. The future of barbecue is here at thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
Hello, everybody. This is Gary Vaynerchuk, host of Wine Library TV, a.k.a. WLTV, and this is BBQ Central.
Get on the phone and in the smoke. 216-220-0966. BBS Talk Radio.
Can you feel it? A generation.
It's the Barbecue Central Show on BBS Talk Radio. Happy to have you aboard. We're being joined by Leanne Whippen, the most recent contestant on Throwdown with Bobby Flay, and she was taking part in the pulled pork portion of the show. Leanne, again, thanks for joining me. Quick question from Sandy at the National Barbecue Forum. She was wondering what kind of cooker you use during the Throwdown.
Actually, I used an Oklahoma Joe with the combination of my Old Hickory inside the restaurant. I started off in the Old Hickory and then moved it over to the Oklahoma Joe. So it was a combination of two cookers, actually, for that event.
So something that I learned about Leanne Whippen is she's kind of a smack talker when she's put in a competition. I thought it was a great line. You look over, he's making that barbecue sauce, and you're like, oh, I hope that's not your barbecue sauce. And then you told him it looked very pretty. I'm sure he felt very good about that.
I thought that was pretty gutsy of him to do that, but, I wouldn't have done it.
Well, I thought the biggest issue for you going into the competition was going to be the judges. If you had 2 or 3 random folks that they just picked off the street, I figured you were probably going to have a real tough time just because there could be star factor, or they would be looking at the sandwiches trying to figure out which one that he did. Ultimately, they provide Kansas City Barbecue Society judges, so at that point I figured he was really going to have to pull something off because you're well accustomed to what they're looking for, and they know what they want to look for as far as what is good pork and what isn't good pork. But speculating beyond that, if you think if they would have put regular folks in there, do you think the outcome would have been the same?
Probably, and the reason I say that is it might have boiled down to the sauce. His sauce was very, very peppery, mustard base, and I think that the large majority of people prefer tomato base over that, and that's what I've turned in, was a tomato base, a little sweet with a little kick of heat. Both of our porks were, they were very, very similar. Mine had a sweeter dry rub on it, and I tend to think that it caramelizes better. So I think that that's more popular than more of, again, a peppery type flavor. And I think you'll note that the judges had talked about the pepper. It was heavy pepper, even in the slaw. So I think, I don't know, it's hard to say. KCBS, they are used to more of a tomato base than a mustard base turn-in, but they also were told to keep an open mind and, judge it for its overall flavor, appearance, taste, and tenderness. So, it's hard to say because there were people that were at the event that ate his food that thought his was better than mine. So, it's again, kind of luck of the draw with the judges sometimes. You win some, you lose some.
Do you think it goes to the showing what kind of balls this guy has for the fact that you got to know going into it that the tomato-based sauce is going to be more widely accepted? Mustard-based sauces are very regional, down in the Southern Carolina region, yet he decides to go right to there. I mean, is this just a testament to, what kind of a guy that he is, and he's going to try and completely put everybody in a tailspin by going off the board like that?
Yeah, I think that's part of his whole show, and what makes him interesting is that he takes risks, and he makes the audience really think about what he's doing and why is he doing it. And we're having this conversation right now because of what he did. Had he done the norm, it wouldn't be as interesting. So I think that's what makes the show and makes him who he is.
Was it more nerve-wracking to cook against Bobby Flay, or is it more nerve-wracking to cook against the people you did on the Barbecue Challenge series, like on the Versus Network?
Without a doubt, the Barbecue Challenge series. I mean, oh my God, that was absolutely so intense. I mean, I'm even having a tough time getting ready this weekend for Virginia State at Jubilee. I heard my friend Dirty Dick's coming down, and I was like, God, would you just stay home? I need to win one. And now I am more nervous and crazy about this weekend coming up than I was Bobby Flay. And also at the same time, I didn't know it was going to be a throwdown, so I really didn't have time to get nervous. I was really, more casual and laid back because it was for friends and family that were going to enjoy the food. So I didn't have time to get nervous. Yeah, when he pulled up, I was a wreck, but, my pork was already cooked at that point. So, no, I'm more nervous, or I was more nervous, in Reno. And, the competition's coming up here soon than the Bobby Flay thing.
Just got a email rifled in question from Buster Davis from Smokin' AJ's, and he's asking me to ask you if you prefer cooking butts over shoulders and why.
Well, Boston butt is a butt of the shoulder. I mean, it is the shoulder. So bone-in Boston butts, that's what I prefer to cook.
Maybe he was asking picnics versus butts or something like that.
Oh, I don't know. I definitely don't like picnics. They taste too hammy to me. I just like the bone-in Boston butts. That's all I use at the restaurant. That's all I use in competition. At the Royal, any of the first place that I won, it's been, the bone-in Boston butts.
Now, answer honestly.
Uh-huh.
Do you think if you would have lost to Bobby Flay, that you would have gotten some blowback from some of the other barbecuers like Ray Lampe and Fast Eddie and, you know, a number of the other guys that are on the circuit that
Ray
you know
Fast
very
Eddie
well.
Wouldn't do me wrong. They'd stand up for me. At least I hope so. I'd stand up for them. I'm sure I'd hear some flack. I mean, you know, if you lose, you're going to hear it. If you win, you're going to hear it. You know, so. You got to take the good with the bad, but hopefully they'd stand up for me.
Well, I guess you know where that question is derived from. It really seems you especially in the internet world, which is, you know, a world that should be taken with a grain of salt, regardless. But there are a faction of people that, and I'm in this faction that I like the guy. Maybe it's because I'm originally from New York and I get, you know, his whole deal, and you know. To me, he's not coming off as arrogant or cocky. I mean, he's successful and he likes to talk about what he likes to do, and he's parlayed it into a very successful career on top of being a very good chef. But then there's another faction that really have disdain for him, that say he's a one-trick pony, he's just a griller. You know, he was shown on television not being able to put together Weber Smoky Mountain right. Nobody saw him smoke these pork butts that were showed on television with you the other night. Do you think he's getting kind of a bad rap?
I don't know, because honestly, I'm going to have to agree. I haven't seen him really. I remember, I don't know, it was probably 5 or 6 years ago or longer than that. I saw him cook a brisket on a bullet, okay? And a lot of what he was doing was very similar to what I do, yet you really didn't see him do the whole process, and it wasn't fully explained like he had done it all himself. And I really haven't seen him on a show where he has, but I can't say that he doesn't do it. You know, he seems like he's more of, I'm going to say, a griller, more of a gourmet chef, restaurateur type person than an actual, you know, heavy duty, you know, I don't know, somebody who's going to take the time and sit there and watch their smoker and maintain, you know, the heat and the charcoal and the wood. I don't know that he has the time to do that, but maybe I'm wrong. I just haven't seen it.
Well, I've interviewed Steven Raichlen, who is, you know, probably one of the better known household names as far as grilling is concerned, and he had a barbecue show on PBS for a while. And I interviewed him. I said, "Look, are you more comfortable in front of a grill, or are you more comfortable in front of a smoker?" And he said, hands down, in front of a grill.
It's you know, he was at that event in Baltimore with Bobby Flay, and Steve actually, out of all the chefs that were up there, the 5 or 6 that competed against each other, he won that event, and he just, you know, put out an incredible dish. But they were not using smokers; they were provided with all the same grills, so they were all grilling at that event. So I can see where he's coming from, and you know, I appreciate his honesty in that, because you know, some people just, you know, have the forte and know how to smoke things, and some people know how to grill. I don't fault anybody for knowing one or the other, but, you know, I would say I'd have a problem with somebody that's, you know, saying they know how to smoke when all they're doing is grilling. I mean, I had a guy up in Jersey who cooked half chickens on an open-face grill, New Jersey State Championship, and I was watching, I was like, I can't believe this guy is doing this. And he actually won first place in chicken, and I was like appalled that I didn't see any smoke, I didn't see him taking the time, but, you know, it's, you know, it is what it is. It's hard to explain, so.
Do you have contact information you can pass along to me via email so I can get a hold of this Bobby Flay character? He needs to be on the show.
I don't have his email address. I have his assistant's phone number, but I can't give that out. Now, Bobby Flay is very gracious, and he definitely is knowledgeable. On the show, I think you heard him talking about, you know, again, the Boston butt and the fat, and, you know, how, you know, it helps the moisture of the meat and everything. You know, he understands a lot of science of food, and there is, you know, some of that involved in smoking, and, you know, whether it has to do with marinating or what kind of products you're going to use on the meat.
Is there something coming up in your hometown that you would like to promote here on the air while we're live?
I sure would. Chesapeake Jubilee, which is Virginia State Championship, is coming up this weekend, which I think is 16, 17, 18. And it is KCBS sanctioned. They've got about 30 teams there, so we'll be vending and also competing. And hope to see you all out there. if you're in the area. I know there's a lot of other competitions going on this weekend. Danville's going on, and I think 2 or 3 others. So it's a heavy weekend of barbecue, and I wish all the competitors a lot of luck out there. And, it's a lot of fun. We're getting into the season, so it's turning into a year-round season.
Yeah, exactly. Is there a website that people can go to find out more about you and your line of restaurants?
Yes, Wood, WOOD, Chicks, CHICKS, BBQ.com, and it talks about our history, awards, upcoming events in the restaurants, and just a little bit of everything, some catering menus, restaurant menus, and I don't know if it includes all the air dates of the Bobby Flay thing because it is airing on May the 20th at 9 o'clock, and then there's a few other air dates that you can find on the Food Network, so it'll be re-airing.
Leanne Whippen is the pitmaster for Wood Chicks Barbecue and the most recent contestant on Throwdown with Bobby Flay, and victorious, I might add. So, Leanne, I appreciate you taking the time out tonight to talk to me about some KCBS things and, more importantly, the Throwdown with Bobby Flay, and continued success to you.
Thank you very, very much. And I just want to give, a shout-out to Captain Morgan as I strive to do his barbecue as well as he does.
Oh, my God. I just have to know how much he paid you to say that, but a different story for a different time. Thank you, Leanne. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Leanne Whippen, if you need her, from Wood Chicks Barbecue. Jimmy, how dare you? Did you ask her to do that because you're fat? Fat? All right, I want to thank my guest, Leanne Whippen from Wood Chicks Barbecue, for joining me tonight talking about the throwdown that you had with Bobby Flay, as well as some KCBS things. Again, if you're interested in learning more about her, you can check it out at Wood Chicks. That's CHICKS BBQ.com, woodchicksbarbecue.com. Also, thanks to the emailers for pounding in your questions during that show. Glad I was able to fit them in for you. No callers tonight. Pressed you out. Sorry about that. Big guest. Next week, of course, I'm still chasing Johnny Trigg. Also, Billy Bones, Dale Duckworth from the Carolina Barbecue Company, and Kevin Bevington from the Florida Barbecue Association. All upcoming shows, so stay tuned for that. Thanks to the Barbecue Central crew, sound engineer Sam Hassan in Southern California, more specific, Los Angeles. I was your phone screener, I was your show producer, and I was your damn good host, Greg Rempe. Stay tuned for Broad Topics coming up after me at 10 o'clock Eastern with Laura, Joan, Marnie, and Kelly. And don't forget to check out all the programming we have here on BBS Talk Radio. There is definitely something for everyone. We'll see you back here next Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the Barbecue Central Show. This is your program host, Greg Rempe, saying so long, everybody.
Barbecue has never been easier with the Barbecue Guru. The Barbecue Guru is a temperature control and monitor for all pits, charcoal, wood, electric, your pit. It easily attaches to any smoker or pit and gives you simple, trouble-free control of your temperatures so you can make championship quality barbecue every time and all the time. And it's location-free. Take it anywhere. This amazing breakthrough in barbecue technology is a microprocessor-controlled draft system that uses temperature monitors and a small fan to keep your temperatures constant. The stainless steel Guru Pit Minder gives you a choice of controls from 90 to 370 degrees. So cold smoking, pepper drying, making cheese or jerky, or fabulous briskets and ribs is nothing short of effortless. The Procom 4 lets you monitor 600 feet away, and there's more. Check out the full line of products and accessories for the future of barbecue with new items on the way. Visit thebarbecueguru.com. That's www.thebbqguru.com or call 1-800-288-GURU.
The Big Green Egg is the most unique barbecue and grilling product on the market, with its unmatched capabilities and flexibility that surpass all other conventional cookers combined. It's a smoker, a grill, and an oven. You can literally cook any food on it year-round, from appetizers to entrees to desserts. The Big Green Egg lights fast, and it's ready to cook on within 10 minutes, and no need for that yucky lighter fluid. The ceramic walls retain heat with an accurate temperature control, so there are no hot spots. And since the top is down while you're cooking, there are no grease flare-ups. Its handsome, unique, and decorative design produces the juiciest and most succulent food you'll ever taste. And don't forget about the world-class customer service and the lifetime warranty that goes along with every unit. You can find out more about the Big Green Egg by visiting their website at biggreenegg.com. That's biggreenegg.com. Big Green Egg, the most versatile and unique barbecue and grilling product on the market.
Hey, smell my pits. Yeah, come on, smell my pits. You know why they smell so good? Because I use D-Dog's barbecue rubs in my barbecue pits. D-Dog's award-winning championship rubs are available online at ddogsbbq.com. Try the original, the apple, or the maple. But there's more. D-Dog's now has sauces. D-Dog's Barbecue is now proud to offer cranberry chipotle sauce, D-Dog's chicken wing sauce, and steak sauce too. And you can get them online at ddogsbbq.com. Keep checking back because D-Dogs is always bringing in new products with new sauces and new rubs coming soon. D-Dogs Barbecue Rubs and Sauces, championship award-winning. Shop online at ddogsbbq.com. That's ddogsbbq.com.